In the year 2026, the greatest war is not being fought on battlefields or in the halls of government. It is being fought in the 6 inches of space between your ears. You are being farmed. Your attention is the most valuable crop on Earth, and every tech giant, every algorithm, and every notification is a harvester designed to pluck your focus before it can ever grow into something meaningful. We live in an era of digital serfdom. You think you are using the tools, but the tools are using you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his private journals, "Everywhere and at all times it is in thy power piously to acquiesce in thy present condition, and to behave justly to those who are about thee." But how can you acquiesce to the present moment when you aren't even in it? How can you behave justly to those around you when your mind is 3,000 miles away, reacting to the opinion of a stranger on a screen? The ancient Stoics lived in a world of physical noise, the roar of the Roman Colosseum, the chatter of the marketplace, the chaos of imperial politics. But they recognized a truth that we have forgotten. True freedom is the ability to be inaccessible. In a world where everyone is always on, the ultimate status symbol is the power to be off. Today, on Real Stoic Word, we are exploring the philosophy of digital asceticism. This is not a tech detox. It is a total reclamation of your soul. We are going to dive deep into the Stoic mechanics of focus, the neuroscience of modern distraction, and the blueprint for becoming an unshakable pillar in a world of digital noise. If you feel like your mind is no longer your own, if you feel a constant vibrating anxiety the moment the silence hits, then this video is for you. Stay with me. We are going to learn how to disappear so that you can finally be found. The foundation of all Stoic practice is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, the slave-turned philosopher, laid it out clearly. Some things are within our power, while others are not. In the digital age, we have blurred this line until it has disappeared. We have given our internal citadel, the fortress of our mind, over to things we cannot control. You cannot control the algorithm. You cannot control the comments section. You cannot control the speed of the news cycle. And yet, you spend 80% of your waking life emotionally invested in them. Think about the last time a post made you angry, or a headline made you anxious. In that moment, you became a slave. You handed the keys to your happiness to a software engineer in Silicon Valley who designed that interface specifically to trigger your limbic system. Digital asceticism is the process of redrawing the line of control. We must apply what the Stoics called prosoch, constant watchfulness. You must treat your attention like your most sacred property. If a stranger walked into your house and started rearranging your furniture, you would be outraged. Yet you let thousands of strangers walk into your mind every day through your screen and rearrange your thoughts, your moods, and your desires. To be a digital ascetic is to realize that your phone is not an appendage. It is a tool. And like any tool, if you are not using it, it should be put away. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, argued that the philosopher must train the body to be content with little, so the mind can be content with much. Digital asceticism applies this to information. We must train our minds to be content with little information, so we can have much wisdom. We are currently suffering from information obesity. We consume 1,000 nuggets of data, tweets, reels, news snippets, but we digest none of it. It passes through us, leaving us bloated but malnourished. The Stoic path demands that we stop consuming and start contemplating. Why is it so hard to put the phone down? Why does the Stoic will feel so weak against a simple notification? To understand the solution, we must understand the enemy. Your brain was evolved for a world of scarcity. When your ancestors found a berry bush or a source of water, the brain released dopamine, a chemical that says, "This is important, remember this, do it again." In 2026, the berry bush has been replaced by the infinite scroll. Every time you see a like or a new headline, your brain thinks it has found a survival resource. It rewards you with a hit of dopamine. The problem is that the Stoic virtue of temperance, sophrosyne, relies on the prefrontal cortex, the logical human part of the brain. But the digital world is designed to bypass the prefrontal cortex and speak directly to the amygdala and the striatum, the primitive, impulsive parts of the brain. You are effectively in a state of constant acrosia, acting against your better judgment. You know you should be working or sleeping or being present with your family, but the primitive brain is shouting for its next hit. Stoicism is the ancient cure for this modern neurological fracture. The Stoics practiced ascesis, voluntary hardship, not because they hated pleasure, but because they wanted to be sure that they were the ones in charge of their impulses, not the other way around. By practicing digital asceticism, you are performing a dopamine reset. You are telling your brain that it does not need a constant stream of novelty to be satisfied. Seneca wrote, "Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company." Ask yourself, can you sit in a chair for 20 minutes with no phone, no book, and no music? If the answer is no, you are not a free man. You are a dopamine addict in a toga. The goal of this phase of your reinvention is to move from passive consumption to active creation. The Stoic does not scroll. The Stoic observes, thinks, and acts.
Philosophy without action is just a hobby. To the Stoics, a man's worth was proven not by his words, but by his dogmata, his lived principles. If you agree that you are being farmed, but you change nothing about your digital architecture, you are merely a scholar of your own slavery. To become a digital ascetic, you must build what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel. This is a fortress of the mind that the world cannot enter without your permission. In 2026, this fortress is built with specific tactical boundaries. The first layer of the fortress is the geography of focus. Stoics believed in the sanctity of the environment. Seneca suggested that we should live in a way that is consistent with nature. Digital devices are unnatural light and unnatural noise. Therefore, you must create sacred spaces. Your bedroom must be a temple of sleep and reflection. No screens allowed. Your dinner table must be a forum for justice, the virtue of being present for others, not a place for checking emails. By physically removing the devices from your immediate environment, you reduce the cognitive load on your will. You stop fighting the temptation because you have removed the tempter. The second layer is the time block of stillness. The Stoics practiced morning and evening reviews. Today, most people begin their day by inviting the entire world into their bed. Before you have even brushed your teeth, you have digested the anger of a stranger on X, the vanity of a peer on Instagram, and the chaos of the global news cycle. You have allowed the world to dye your soul before you have even found your own center. The Digital Ascetic Protocol demands a 2-hour buffer. No digital input for the first hour of the day, no digital input for the last hour before sleep. This is not just a habit, it is a declaration of sovereignty. It is you telling the world, I belong to myself before I belong to you. The third layer is ghosting the algorithm. The algorithm feeds on your reaction. When you scroll, you are training a machine to know how to manipulate you. To be inaccessible is to be unpredictable. Turn off every notification that isn't from a human being you love. A like is not a human interaction, it is a data point. A breaking news alert is not information, it is a hook. By limiting your accessibility, you increase your availability for what actually matters, your work, your family, and your character. There is a price for this freedom. You must be prepared to pay it. The Stoics knew that to live according to virtue was to invite the judgment of the many. Epictetus said, "If you desire philosophy, prepare yourself from the beginning to be ridiculed and mocked by many." In 2026, when you stop replying to messages instantly, when you delete the apps everyone else is addicted to, and when you choose silence over the current thing, people will find you difficult. They will call you out of touch. They will take your inaccessibility as an insult. This is the test of courage. Most of our digital addiction is fueled by the fear of social death. We stay connected because we are afraid of being forgotten. We post because we want to be seen. But the Stoic asks, whose eyes are you trying to please? If you are seeking the approval of people you don't even respect, you are a slave to their whims. To be a digital ascetic is to realize that you don't need to be seen by the world to exist. You only need to be seen by yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "It is possible to depart from life this very moment. Have this in mind in everything you do, say, and think." When you look at your life through the lens of memento mori, the remembrance of death, the social cost of missing a notification becomes laughably small. No one on their deathbed ever wished they spent more time in the comment section. They wished they had spent more time in the presence of life. By being inaccessible to the noise, you become deeply accessible to the truth. You become the friend who actually listens, the parent who actually plays, the worker who actually creates. You become a rare commodity in 2026, a person who is actually there. Let us finish with the view from above. Imagine the trillions of data packets flying across the planet right now. The billions of hours of human life being poured into digital voids. From this height, the noise disappears. The trending topics are invisible. The outrage is silent. All that remains is the earth, the stars, and the brief flash of your existence. You are a small part of a vast whole. The Stoics called this the cosmopolis, the universal city. Your duty is not to the digital web, but to the cosmic order. Your duty is to be a rational, social, and virtuous human being in the physical world. The digital world is a shadow. It is a simulation of connection, a simulation of knowledge, and a simulation of status. Digital asceticism is the act of stepping out of the cave and into the sunlight. It is not easy. The shadows are addictive. They are warm and familiar. But the sunlight is where you grow. Reclaiming your mind is the most stoic act you can perform in 2026. It is the ultimate exercise of temperance and wisdom. It is the path to the good life, the eudaimonia that the ancients promised. The experiment starts today. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to be completely inaccessible. Turn off the phone. Leave it in a drawer. Sit with your thoughts. Walk in the park. Read a book made of paper. Observe the itch. Observe the anxiety. And then observe the peace that follows when you realize that the world kept spinning without your attention. If you are ready to join the great unplugging, if you are ready to become a digital ascetic, then type the word unplugged in the comments below. Let this be your public vow to the inner citadel. If this deep dive helped you see the walls of your invisible prison, share it with one person who needs to find the exit, and subscribe to Real Stoic Word for more blueprints on how to live an ancient life in a modern world. The world is loud. Be the silence. Stay grounded, stay unshaken, stay stoic.